Well, don't look now, but some former Rangers have made a large impact in MLB playoffs. We're going to be talking about you, Darvish, and then Cole Ragans gets the big nod tonight against the Yankees. All of this and more on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Everybody, great to be with you. Abby Jones here, joined alongside Jeff Wilson. We've got J-Dub in the house. John Radigan will be back this week, so you don't want to miss the coming episodes. 1 o'clock all week, I think, for the Rangers.
Yeah, 1 o'clock all week, and then I think that's going to be our home pretty much for the whole off season.
Okay.
Yeah, it just feels like a good time slot for us. Kind of
all right.
Give the Cowboys a chance to do their thing. Mavs and Stars are about to be in season. Yep. If they aren't already, the Stars might be in season. I don't know.
Preseason.
I'm not going to say I'm not paying attention to hockey, but I'm still pretty knee deep into this baseball stuff.
I know. Friday, there were no baseball games scheduled. We talked about, there has to be some split soon and splitting up the American League and National League. So great weekend slate of baseball.
Yeah. Saturday was a fun day because the big college football with the huge Alabama Vanderbilt game and Vandy upsetting Alabama, and then
that was a bad one.
Tennessee getting upset, A&M pulling an upset and looking really, really good. So there was a lot of good there, and then the baseball was really good. These games were very intriguing, and National League Series did not get the day off yesterday, so we got a lot to talk about on the NL side. We
do. Let's go ahead and get it started. We want to point out the former Ranger who really just had a masterclass last night. That is Yu Darvish. He went 7 innings, and he held the Dodgers offense to 1 run over 7 innings. Yeah. And the red-hot Shohei Ohtani, which we'll get into a hilarious graphic, he went 0 for 4. So in his first, postseason performance, you didn't really love what you saw.
No, so he really brought the Dodgers back in Game 1 and hit the big 3-run homer after the Padres had their big first inning and brought the game even. And so Ohtani basically was the hero of Game 1. But yesterday Yu Darvish neutralized him, and maybe there's some familiarity there. They were teammates in the World Baseball Classic, and maybe there's some a little personal rivalry there. The important thing for the Padres yesterday is that nobody was on base when Ohtani batted, and so even if he did do damage, it wouldn't have been terrible.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Yu Darvish, it's pretty stunning. He's not stunning, I guess, but time flies. How about that? This is his 12th major league season. And, I remember when the Rangers wooed him from Japan, they put up the huge posting fee to get him from the Ham Fighters and Nippon. Well, they're the Fighters. Nippon Ham is the sponsor. Anyway, and then the press conference, they brought him in, and it was a big deal early January. Then spring training was crazy with all the Japanese media there. The first day just running around, and it really never dissipated. He did get hurt in 15, unfortunately, Tommy John surgery, but he's 38 now,
wow.
Which is staggering, and he still has a lot of years left on his contract. But he dominated yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's always had that huge arsenal of pitches, still throwing hard, and whatever happened here in the second half of the season where he stepped away for personal reasons, never really came out why. He was also injured at the time, but that was a huge start for him. You can't go down 0-2 in a series.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres are now going to be without Joe Musgrove, who needs Tommy John surgery. So they really needed Yu Darvish to to step into that hole and have a big performance, and he did. And good for him. Good guy. He interesting backstory. His parents, if I remember correctly, his father is Iranian and his mother is Japanese, and they met at college in like Tampa. So like
of all places,
places, that's where they met. And Yu speaks English very, very well. He chooses an interpreter when speaking in group settings and whatnot to make sure nothing's lost in translation.
Right.
But just a guy who was kind of guarded at first when he came over, and you don't blame him. And by the end of his time with the Rangers, he'd really loosened up, and somebody we enjoyed talking to. And then he got a help from a former Rangers teammate, Jurickson Profar, who, geez, I've known since he was 17. And, it was a tumultuous ride with him, with the Rangers, because of the injury. Just when it looked like they'd cleared out a spot for him to start by trading Kinsler to the Tigers for Prince Fielder, his shoulder cost him 2 seasons. And he never really found a home. Rougned Odor came up and took over at second, and the Rangers had Elvis Andrus at shortstop, so they tried Profar in the outfield, and they weren't sure about it. Anyway, they ended up trading him after his best season with the Rangers because Scott Boras is his agent, and they didn't think they'd be able to re-sign him before he hit free agency, so they tried to get the most they could for him. But kind of some crummy years here the last couple of years, and this year his best year of his career, and he makes that huge catch in the first inning to rob Mookie Betts of a home run after the Padres had taken a lead on a Fernando Tatis homer. So
one of them,
his first home run. But so I'm very happy for both guys.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Now the series is going back to San Diego, and there's some bad blood between these two teams, and Padres fans absolutely hate the Dodgers. So it's going to be a pretty good atmosphere.
It did get a little toxic. It did.
It got chippy.
You saw Dodgers fans throwing trash in the Padres bullpen,
Yeah. And they threw I think Jurickson, who had robbed the home run, the fan in the front row. I think Jurickson tried to extend him an olive branch by giving him a ball. Well, the fan just threw it out of the field.
Yeah.
And then another fan who had apparently got a home run ball during batting practice or something threw a ball into the field, and it was probably with about 10 feet of Profar, which you never want anybody throwing anything at a player. And so Profar brought the umpires into it and wagged his finger at the crowd. And so that was a black eye for the Dodgers. And, the Dodgers fans have had kind of a checkered past. They've never really thrown things at players that I remember, but they've beat up other fans, and it's Brian Snow, the former Giants fan. Maybe I don't know that that's an isolated incident. Probably that it was so bad that it's an isolated incident. But you hope that decorum prevails, at least among the fan bases. The players can do whatever they want, And there was some good smack talk going on between Jack Flaherty, the Dodgers starter, and Manny Machado, the all-star third baseman for the Padres, and it stemmed from Fernando Tatis getting hit. And I don't know that Flaherty was intentionally throwing at Tatis. The Padres certainly thought he was. And I guess that's kind of what set it all off. And, some cuss words are thrown around. If you're a lip reader, you might have blushed a little bit. Apparently Machado and Flaherty were going to meet in the parking lot after the game. I don't know if that
took
took
that
place
on social media.
But
one of them showed up and the other one did not.
Oh, well.
I heard. Through the grapevine of X.
Well, yeah. If it happened on X, it must be true. But
right.
Anyway, so there's some fire going on there. The good news is there's a day off, so maybe that'll calm things down. But the Padres definitely thought that Tatis had been hit intentionally, and man, what a playoff he's having.
Right, that's what we're going to get into. Let's take a look now at what Fernando Tatis Jr. has done in just 4 games in the postseason. A 6.43 average.
That's pretty good.
Oh my Lord! And 2 home runs came last night. One came in the first, and the next in the 9th. Ridiculous stuff that you're seeing from Tatis Jr.
Yeah, and he's Of course, let's not forget his dad has one of the most remarkable feats ever in baseball history at Dodger Stadium when playing for the Rangers. He hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. All right. Off of Chan-Ho Park. Both of them were off Chan-Ho Park, the future Rangers pitcher.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So there's some history, some Tatis family history in that ballpark. But, Fernando, who was signed by the White Sox, came over in a big trade with the Padres and ended up being a star at shortstop. Then he crashed his motorcycle in the offseason, broke something or did something terrible to his arm. Then in trying to get back, he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. So anyway, it's been a little rocky. They moved him to right field, and then all of a sudden he's like the best right fielder in the world. And he made a huge play last night. Anyway, that's obviously a very talented guy. And when he's hot, he's a terror. He's hit some monster home runs in that ballpark. But let's not lose sight of the rest of the Padres lineup. I mean, it's pretty dang stout.
We saw that last night because the Padres had 6 home runs. That's the most home runs in a single game since the 2023 NLDS Game 3 with the Phillies and then the 2015 NLDS Game 3 with the Chicago Cubs. 6 guys home runned, and it was all really after the 8th inning. I mean, there was, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, but 8th, and then there were two home runs in the 8th and the 9th.
See, I had switched from that game to the football game, which I then went to bed.
Right.
So the first half put me to sleep, but
you didn't, the hour-long rain delay,
well,
you didn't switch over.
Well, the rain delay allowed us to watch a lot of baseball.
Yeah, you need the split screen.
I do. We need to work on that. Let's tell my wife that and see how that goes. But anyway. Yeah, they hit the ball from top to bottom. They have Jackson Merrill, the rookie, who is a pretty stunning number. The only player in the National League who had more extra base hits in the second half than Jackson Merrill is Shohei Ohtani. And this is a rookie who really was a shortstop coming up, and they moved him to center field just to get their best lineup on the field. And he's taking advantage of it. He's going to be a runaway winner for the National League Rookie of the Year, I believe, although Imaga for the Cubs had a really good season. But it's throughout the lineup. It's left-handed. It's right-handed. It's power. It's the ability to get on base. They just do a lot of things really, really well. And if you can get the game like Darvish did, 7 innings. You just don't see 7 innings in the playoffs very often anymore, especially when you have a bullpen like the Padres have. So just really good job all around by them last night. And if you believe in momentum, if you think momentum's a thing, then they have the momentum going home.
Right.
Splitting at home. If they got to win both the home games, and they move on.
Right. And it is so important that they split last night because that's what they came there for. Yeah. And under the current format of the 2-2-1, in a division series, when it's been tied after 2 games, the team heading home for games 3 and 4 go on to win the series 66% of the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the numbers would be in their favor. No doubt.
And so, hey, see what happens. You never know what's going to happen in baseball, but I like the Padres in this series. I really did. And, if they can figure out a way to get by without Musgrove, if they can get to that bullpen with a lead, they're going to be in really, really good shape.
We did want to show this countdown to Shohei Ohtani that we noticed in the start of the day, the middle of the day during football games. They had a graphic during a football game, like the 3 p.m. game. Hey, so many hours away. But then they were doing 3 batters away. What are we doing here?
Well, I guess, he is the biggest, brightest star.
Hilarious, though.
It is. But if that's what Fox, the game was on Fox FS1. But anyway, if they feel like that's the way to get eyeballs on their screen, then do it. I
guess I get it, but I think it's like kind of the Taylor Swift version of something like this in baseball, because they would always show Travis making a catch or a touchdown, and then they show Taylor Swift for like 45 seconds, and I'm like, well, go back to the replay.
Yeah.
I want to see that, not the reaction. So it was just a little bit funny.
It is funny. Yeah, I agree. But I'm not into marketing.
Hey, I'm not either.
I'm no marketer here.
I'm not either. But we'll get into, more of the playoffs. We're going to be talking about the American League coming up next. Cole Ragans, of course, making a big start against the Yankees today. So that's coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. I wish that you guys could see our full floor because these floors are stunning. They are done by Empire Today. Empire Today has been around as long as I've been alive, and they are the one-stop shop for flooring because that's all that they do. They're not going to try to sell you and incorporate plumbing or windows or treatments or anything in that because they just stick to flooring, which means you're going to get the MVP of flooring, if you will. They have a really cool virtual option now that you can take your smartphone and kind of do like a panoramic view. And so you can see what your floor is going to look like before it's even installed. Floors are not cheap. So you want to know that you like what you're doing and what you're going to get. So this is going to be the one-stop shop. We have a $350 coupon for you with empiretoday.com/DLLS. Again, it's $350 on your purchase, and then they have a free in-home estimate today using our code.
And then with all this money you're going to save on the flooring, why not spend it on like going to a concert or a game at a last minute where it might be hard to get a ticket, and that's where the Game Time app comes in. The Wilsons are getting ready to go to New York, and we are going to try to hit a show, give the kids some culture, and we're probably going to try to get those tickets through Game Time. Anyway, Game Time curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc., all in pricing. So when you toggle this feature, shows the total up front, no surprise fees. You get a panoramic seat view from the app before you buy, and they have the lowest price guarantee. Or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Fantastic. Ooh. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time?
Game time.
I love that Ben said that's a little bit much on the Ohtani because I agree. All right. So also we have another comment. I think it's Bobby or Robbie. I really need glasses. Still rooting for our old pals in San Diego. Let's root for the other pals in Kansas City because we're going to get into Cole Ragans with the New York Yankees. He is going to be starting today. And I mean, impressive stuff that you've seen from Cole Ragans. In his last 5 starts, not only does he have a sub-1 ERA, 0.87.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's gross. 3 earned runs and 31 innings pitched.
Yeah, I like, obviously, I've expressed how I feel about Cole Ragans. Good guy. This is a big start for him. It really is. And you wonder, do you want a left-hander starting at Yankee Stadium?
All lefties on the mound today, by the way.
Yeah, it's like National Left-Hander Day. Ned Flanders must be thrilled and shop at the Leftorium. Anyway, this is a big moment for Cole. Not that his first start wasn't against the Orioles and Corbin Burns. This one's going to be pretty good.
He outpitched Corbin Burns in that start as well. And Corbin Burns, big free agent name.
Right. But the Royals are down a game. They lost the opener. It was a really good game. I think they got walked off or lost late, whatever it was. But it's a big spot for him. The Royals really need him. You don't want to go down 0-2. Abby's probably got some numbers on that too.
I do.
Wow.
Of the 90 teams that trail 2-0 in the best of 5 postseason, just 10 have come back to win. That's an 11.1% chance.
One of them was the 2015 Orioles against the Rangers, or not Orioles, Blue Jays, and a different bird against the Rangers. The Rangers really, those first 2 games were entertaining up there, and then came here and the games were not as entertaining, and then the game 5 with the bat flip and everything that we've talked about previously. But yeah, it's hard. It's not easy, and so he doesn't want to be in that hole. The Royals don't want to be in that hole. I thought they showed well against Garrett Cole. They scored 5 times.
There were so many. There were 5 lead changes.
Yeah. The game was back and forth. They need Bobby Witt Jr. to have a good game. Or Carlos Rodon, who's the left-hander for the Yankees, big strikeout guy. When he's healthy, he's really, really good. And so those right-handed bats of Witt and Salvador Perez need to be pretty prominent there in the top of the Royals order. And then but yeah, it'll come down to pitching. It always does. And if Cole Ragans gives him a chance, it's great. And I expect that he'll do that. I know he's obviously hot with the numbers that you mentioned, and he's just a cool customer. And I would be surprised if he spits the bit, so to speak. I think this is going to be another good outing for him, and another, while this reflects very well on the Royals and Cole, keep in mind the Rangers pretty much stuck by him, rebuilt his elbow twice, and ended up trading him like we talked about last week to win a World Series, which they did, and rooting for Cole.
And Salvador Perez historically has luck against Carlos Rodon. 12 for 26 at bats, 462, 3 home run in his lifetime.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so you're looking for that man to do some damage today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Detroit Tigers. An interesting story there because...
Wait. Didn't you have something on Aaron Judge?
I did have something on Aaron Judge. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
I find this astounding. I love greatness. In the regular season, Aaron Judge is great. I mean, that man's a monster. However, he has the Dak effect in playoffs. I found this stat. He has struck out 34% of his postseason plate appearances in his career. That's the second worst all time ever. He is 8-60 with 3 home runs, 23 strikeouts in his last 15 postseason games.
8 for 60. Gosh.
That's 133.
There, I was going to do the math, but
133.
I'm glad you did it for me.
I mean, when you look at what this man's making, I don't know how to logically make sense of this postseason.
Well,
and what he does in the regular season.
Well, okay, so when you're in the postseason, you're facing the very best pitchers. Teams are matching up to make sure that their best pitchers face the other team's best hitters. In this case, it's Aaron Judge. Maybe in the past he hasn't been healthy. That's a possibility. I know that. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
You're good. Ben did just say, "Don't throw my boy Dak in."
Anyway,
we agree, but numbers speak.
The Judge in 22, he hits the 62 home runs, but he played all the way down the stretch to get the record. Maybe he was worn out. Maybe he was dealing with something. You never know, but the point is, it's just harder to hit in the postseason. There's colder weather, all kinds of factors that come into it. But it is pretty astounding that this guy, who's an MVP, and he's going to win the MVP probably this year, and then he's in the same company as Martin Maldonado, which you never want to be as one of the Rangers fans' most hated former Astros guy who hits like 150 every year. You don't want to be in that company. So. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
It's interesting, though.
It is.
It's like the peak and then the valley.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about these gritty Tigers. Interesting matchup today in Cleveland because Tarek Skubal is going against a former mentor with Matthew Boyd. This is the first start that Matthew Boyd will make against his former club. Like we said, 2 lefties on the mound today. The Royals and the Tigers are in a similar situation. They really, really need to win these games tonight because out of the teams, let me see this stat. Of 90 teams that trail, I think I just said it, they have an 11% chance of coming back and winning if they don't. So this really is a must-win, not only for the Royals, but also for the Tigers tonight. Detroit is successful majority of the time when Skubal is on the mound. 22 of his 32 starts, they've won.
That's pretty good.
And, Skubal has a 1.75 ERA in his last 10 starts, a 7-0 record. So you're hoping that Tigers can get it done today with Skubal and pitching chaos.
Yeah, Boyd's a good story. Getting healthy. He was injured. He's been injured a lot lately, but he got healthy in midseason, got picked up by the Guardians, and ended up in a position that obviously ideal, I guess, when you draw it up. If you have to miss the first half, and you're a guy who people know is a good pitcher, so you're fortunate to come back and be healthy with a contending team, and he's good. The Rangers used to really like him. I'm pretty sure they attempted to get him in some trades in the past, never worked out, but somebody who they've liked a long time. And really, they've had offensively, the Rangers have had a ton of success against him. He beat them late in the season, but other than that, they'd really knocked him around historically. But good for him. Fun story. The Tigers need to show some punch. They got blanked in game one.
They got it handed to them.
Didn't look particularly good against Bybee, who right-hander, and a quick hook on him though. That appears to be the way the Guardians, who have another again a great bullpen, appears that if they have a lead, any sign of trouble the starter gets in, they're going to go to the bullpen pretty early. I think he didn't even make it through the fifth inning, and he was dominating. So we'll see how this one plays out. But you got to, if you're the Tigers and you're the Royals, and you have your best starters on the mound, you have to feel pretty good about your chances to at least get a split and go back home and have a chance to win a series at home. Detroit is, I've witnessed firsthand, and maybe you have too. It can be a really raucous place in the postseason. Mm-hmm. And again, it's only 3 hours away, so maybe some Cleveland fans will make it up there. Maybe some Tiger fans have made it down to Cleveland, but these cities that get to experience playoff baseball, that have had franchises for hundreds of years, 100 years plus, they're good baseball towns, and they bring out their support. And if the Tigers can get this one today, they got a good chance. And the pitching chaos thing is a problem, but they will have a chance.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about, was just longevity of this strategy. It works for a little bit, but there comes a point in time where you might get a little exposed, and maybe you see that with the first game of this series. But yeah, Skubal on the mound, it's a good opportunity today for the Tigers. Who's hot and who's not in this series? Jose Ramirez is 9 for 21 with 3 doubles and a triple off of Skubal.
Okay.
So, and he's had such a great year.
Yeah.
I mean, you wish that there was a little bit more attention on what he was able to do this year.
Uh-huh.
Spencer Torkelson still hitless in the postseason.
Yeah, boy, the first overall pick, and I think it was 20. It just hasn't clicked for him. He got sent down at one point this year. But we'll see what happens.
That was when they were playing the Rangers.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, again, the Tigers got to do whatever they can to get a couple runs, and the Tigers have a good bullpen too. But yeah, Jose Ramirez, I don't think he got a hit the other day in that 7-0 game, but he was in the middle of that big first inning with the ball that it was charged in error. He really should have been given a hit. I thought it was a really tough play, but yeah. Anyway, I think that he's one of the top 5 players in the league, and
I agree.
American League, and so yeah, you hope these guys get attention. They're in the spotlight. They got the stage tonight, so hopefully he does something pretty good. If to if nothing else, amplify or prove that he's one of the best.
I agree. And, looking to the Cleveland bullpen as well, Emmanuel Clase, who we talked about, 1 hit and 7 scoreless innings in the postseason. That this guy, in his playoff career.
Uh-huh.
So you know exactly who this guy is. You know what he's capable of. He's always going to dial it in.
Yeah, gosh, and we remember him coming up with the Rangers, and what an arm. And it's not just that it's an arm. The thing that always got the Rangers excited was that he threw a ton of strikes, and it's pretty evident in how well he pitches. Yeah,
he's retired 20 of the 21 batters he's faced versus Detroit this season.
Pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So much more coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Stay tuned. All right. We want to talk about our friends at Rowback. I am a Bama girl, as I've said before. This is like the shirt of, this might as well be the flag of Alabama. I've literally have seen these for years, and I didn't even realize it until I looked into a little bit more of this company, but it's great stuff. It's performance polos. So you guys like to golf. You like to drive the cart with your buddies. I don't know.
Fishing them. Yeah.
Camp, so many things. Hey, if you want to go to a tailgate, they have the coolest stuff. Their game day collection is pretty unique. They'll incorporate like a team logo or the colors or something that really stands out, like historic about the team. Great quality stuff. They have a super nice stretch, so you're not going to be trapped or feeling uncomfortable all day. They also have a really cool wicking fabric that is breathable and you don't get too hot. Still, it's like 87 here today?
It's supposed to be 90, yeah.
Okay, well, you will need this because it's still hot in Texas. So you can purchase a Rowback shirt or cart order and you get 20% off with the code DLLS20.
I'm kind of excited about this one because it's the first time I've read it. It's FOCO.
FOCO's fun.
Yeah. Get fitted in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. You can even get overalls of your favorite team. Yeah. So Henry Wilson loves jerseys and stuff. So, FOCO is going to be the place for him. Oh, yeah.
Birthdays.
Going to a basketball game or a hockey game, show off your love with the team-branded friendship bracelets, all right? And whether it's jackets, beachwear, even the overalls, there's something for fans on almost every occasion. And they've even donated some of their decorations are behind us on our sets. It's awful nice of them. So check out foco.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the code DLLS10 for 10% off.
I think we should get a friendship bracelet.
You think so? All right. Good one for the group.
Okay. All right. Some more stuff to get into here today. Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
He's here to stay for now.
Yeah. You're going to start seeing some stuff rolled out at DLLS.com, kind of a review / look ahead for 2024, 2025. And you might as well start at the top with the guy in the dugout. And, this is his final year of his contract in 2025. And it's kind of a crappy year. And Bruce is going to be 70 in April. And gosh, he's won, 8th or 9th most games all time, 4 World Series. Well, what else does he have to really prove?
Nothing.
Except the guy loves.
However,
he loves the game. Win. He loves the game. He doesn't want to go out with a non-winning season. Mm-hmm. So of course he's coming back. And the interesting thing, he is going to be 70. He's not even going to be the oldest manager in the division. That's Ron Washington, who's going to turn.
How old is Ron?
Ron's going to turn 72.
Oh, okay.
In April, and maybe that's why Bruce likes him so much. I don't know, because he's always got somebody older than him. But it's an interesting offseason. It's not just going to be fishing and hanging out with their grandkids. These guys have some work to do. The Rangers coaching staff is going to come back in full, assuming somebody doesn't get poached for a better job. And they've got, like I said, they got work to do. The hitting coaches especially. I think that Donnie Ecker and Tim Hires are going to be moving around the country quite a bit, checking in on hitters, making sure that they're following their off-season plan and evaluating the swing and making sure it's where it was at the end of the year with a guy like Adolis Garcia, who finished the year really well, and Jonah Heim, who started to show some signs you thought. And a lot of hitters, a lot of players are going to be in town locally, like Evan Carter is not going back to Tennessee this offseason. He's going to stay in the area. Josh Young lives here now. Marcus Semien, of course. Jonah Heim lives here. So that's a good place to start. And Donnie lives here as well. So you got your hitting coach able to look at your swing when they finally start swinging again. They're not taking their cuts right now.
I was about to say, I think
Yeah.
Seager's on a plane to Italy as we speak.
Yeah, he wanted to see the Coliseum. So, it was a moment of when Corey actually, kind of talked about himself a little bit. He just said he really wanted to see the Coliseum. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Oh,
all right.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the luxury is, of course, I don't think they had anything planned.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just hopped on a plane and like, all right, let's go to Italy. I guess that's happens when you.
No, I actually think that's true because Maddie kind of posted something to her Instagram. She was like, hey, any like tips or tricks? Like, what's the weather like in Italy? Like, people have gone there recently. Oh, I was just there Thursday. Pack a jacket.
Yeah, it's like
but it did seem like a little spur of the moment, which is funny.
Italy and Switzerland and is just right off the northern border, so hop over and check out the Alps a little bit. So yeah, it's probably a little bit cooler there at elevation at least. And but anyway, he needs to get healthy. So he's still probably in the no activity phase after the surgery. And but these guys will start working out again, probably not this week, but the next week or the week after. A lot of these guys don't like to sit around and wait.
Yeah.
But and again, with the ones who are here locally, they'll have a lot of access to Donnie Ecker. And again, these guys aren't afraid to travel to check in. So it'll be interesting to see what comes about in spring training. Bruce Bochy talked about the coaches have collectively talked about what maybe they need to do different in spring training and what needs to be different for next year. So you probably won't notice it unless you're watching spring workouts and batting practice and stuff like that. But they aren't content to just let the status quo prevail. They know that they need to be proactive and change some things and get this team back on track.
Right. Do you think Evan Carter's staying here because of the injury?
Maybe. I don't know. I know he. The Rangers have a back guy, Jesse Evers, and then one of the most renowned back specialists in the country is Drew Dossett, who is in North Dallas, and he actually operated on my back 10 years ago. He's the at the NFL Combine. He's their back guy. He's the Cowboys back guy. I think he was the Stars back guy. He's big with rodeo. So I mean, this guy just,
that's a good industry for
oh my
a back
gosh,
guy.
for injuries. Yeah. He told me
he makes his money there.
He told me that they have the 2 6-pack rule. If it still hurts after 2 6-packs, that's when they go see the doctor. So
that's hilarious.
Anyway, there's a lot of reasons for Evan to be here, and one of them is to get some hands-on training and maybe get on a program that the Rangers want him to be on this offseason to keep his weight on, add strength, but not to the point where it's going to tax his back. Natalie is asking, will the Rangers get any bats this offseason? I don't think any big bats. I think they will zero in on a good internal growth, and then a solid backup catcher and probably a right-handed hitting outfielder. Now, that's not to say that if something comes along where they can upgrade a position that they won't do it. If for some reason Vladimir Guerrero were to, be made available by the Blue Jays, I think the Rangers would look very seriously at it if they could extend him before he hits free agency. But I don't think they're going to. But I also need to dive in after they have these pro scouting meetings and see what they were talking about.
We'll have more on that.
Yeah, we'll have more on that.
So a little bit of bad news.
Yeah.
Matt Bush was charged with a DWI after a crash in Arlington on Friday. And you just hate to hear that.
Yeah, everybody, I don't know if everybody knows, but Matt Bush was the number 1 overall pick by the Padres, a hometown kid, and it was a good feeling. He was a shortstop at the time, and then he became a pitcher because he had such a good arm. But he had a demon in him, and it's alcoholism. And I'm very compassionate toward people with addiction, whether it's drug or alcohol. It's a disease, and it's something that sticks with you all your life. And but this goes all the way back to 2009 when he was drinking, and in 2012 at spring training in Florida, he borrowed a teammate's truck, went out and got hammered, and then ran over a guy on a motorcycle and nearly killed the guy. He ended up going to jail, spent 3 years in prison, and really he came out a changed person, but he still had his big arm, and the Rangers actually gave him a workout in a Pizza Hut parking lot where he just threw on flat ground, and they signed him to a minor league deal. They did their diligence on him, and they felt good about where he was in his recovery. Roy Silver, who has helped ball players who've been in similar situations, he helped Josh Hamilton when Hamilton was trying to get back into the game, vouched for him, and really Matt was a model citizen. He was a great teammate, good pitcher, of course, and dealt with injuries and whatnot, but he did not play this year. So don't know the circumstances that led to his falling off the wagon, if it's something that's happened lately. But he has a wife who he's met in the years with the Rangers, and they've had a baby, at least one that I'm aware of. So you hope that things work out well for Matt. Some people have said, Matt Egan, always going to be this way. Well, yeah, if you're an addict, you're always going to be this way. It's always going to be right there over your shoulder, the little devil whispering in your ear. And for him to have this, it's unfortunate. Hopefully it's a situation that, if he's been struggling, it snaps him back into reality, and he goes and gets the help he needs. He might be facing jail time. I don't know. I don't know the terms of his probation from his arrest. And
well, he allegedly tried to flee.
That doesn't help. But certainly he has the resources to get better. He has people who love him and want him to get better. And unfortunately for him, people complain, he's an alcoholic, should have never gotten a second chance. People with addictions get second chances all the time. I've worked with people who've gone into rehab. Well, they had their job when they came back. You all walks of life get second chances, and it's not always great. Sometimes you do fall off the wagon. Sometimes you never conquer this thing, and it leads to even more problems. But for now, the right thing to do is to hope for Matt Bush and others in his situation that whatever is afflicting them, and they can beat it, or at least learn how to manage it. They can have good people around them to help them along the way, because it's not just something they can't do alone.
Right?
And like Josh Hamilton, for instance, his parents live with him, so he needs help. You need
parameters.
You need a good strong support system, and with Matt, who lives locally, obviously. He's got it. I'm sure a lot of his teammates will be there for him if they need him, if he needs them. Anyway, it is unfortunate.
Has he been to rehab?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what happened in prison, from the time he was arrested. and I'm sure when you're incarcerated, I'm guessing you can make your own mix, if you will. But he was a model prisoner from all indications. So hopefully the state of Florida offered him the counseling that he needed. And again, he got out in 2015, October of 2015. And it's 9 years ago, almost to the day. So, I'm not saying you can't go longer than 9 years without falling off the wagon, but that's a pretty good run. Mm-hmm. And, if this was the first blemish, hopefully there's a path for him to get better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tragic story, no doubt about that. Thoughts and prayers with families that were affected, for sure. Yep. We have a lot coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. We're going to be talking about the American League West and all of the 2025 plans ahead. Yep. All right, guys, we want you to join our fan base. Join and become a diehard, like so many of you in the chat. Coop, Ben, Natalie, we love talking with you guys all the time. You guys are literally the #1 fans, and you guys are a reason that we have so much fun, Thanks for bringing us great topics to talk about, asking good questions, fact-checking us. I mean,
Coop's great. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, you guys are amazing, so we appreciate you. But just upgrade your fandom because $79.99 a year. We are going to have events coming soon. We also have merchandise. When you sign up, you can get 20% off on those events. And when we do something like spring training, that's a little pricey. You're going to want 20% off. So go ahead and just join today because it is the gift that keeps giving. We've got exclusive content coming up. So much that you can do, and you can even be a part of the Discord lounge where you guys get to chat even more, take your fandom to the next level, and really just experience Dallas sports like never before.
Yeah, and stories do go behind paywalls. I like to give people free stories, but it's just, there's just stuff that
it's just some stuff you got to put at a price tag.
Can't give it all away. So like I said, the Bruce Bochy story is going to be coming out soon. It's just going to be a series of these stories of the guys who you want to know about, and there's always coverage of the farm system. The Arizona Fall League kicks off tonight with the surprise team participating in the opening game against Mesa. And 8 Rangers are on that roster. So, yeah, there's no reason not to do it. And it's not just the Ranger stuff you get all of our stuff. Cowboys,
Stars,
Mavs. Yeah, whatever else we cover that's behind a paywall, you get access to that. And did we mention you get the T-shirt?
You get a free T-shirt
every year. So join up.
Join us. All right, let's talk about what's going to maybe happen in the offseason for the American League West.
Yeah.
Very familiar with all the teams.
It's been a interesting few days with Artie Moreno, who doesn't talk a lot. He said, "Oh yeah, we're going to spend money, and I expect us to contend next year." This is the Angels. I'm like, Artie, did you watch your team play this year? 99 losses.
Yeah.
And he's not a patient man. He doesn't like to lose, whether it's on the field or off. You can look at some of the past Angel signings, Anthony Rendon at the very top of the list as him being pissed off about something that didn't go right. In this case, it was they didn't sign Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole went to the Yankees instead of staying at home with the Angels, or
Great
coming
choice
home
for
the
Garrett
Angels.
Cole.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But anyway, so Artie was pissed, and so they went and threw a pile of money at Anthony Rendon, and that's just blown up in their face. So anyway, but this is the downside to this. If Artie wants to spend money and expects to contend, that puts Perry Manassian and Ron Washington in a bad spot because they're pretty much on board as saying, "Yeah, we're a developing team." Ron Washington said that it's going to be hard for them to get free agents because they're so lousy. And so does that put them on the hot seat, if you will? They're both pretty young at their jobs, at least in this spot. This is the first time Manassian's been a general manager, and Wash just finished his first year. And it was interesting that Perry said that he thought Wash was perfect this year. It's about developing, teaching these guys how to play the right way, teaching them how to work. And Ron Washington did all of that. And it's going to be hard for them to go from 99 losses to the postseason or to contending, especially in the West, which should be better. But, the A's are apparently going to spend money as they go to Sacramento.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, how much?
Right.
What are you going to add $20 million to a payroll that's $20 million? You're not going to get a lot of help with that. And then one of their best players had to have forearm surgery, Brent Rooker, but he's supposed to be ready for the start of the year. And then the Mariners are apparently going to spend money. This was after they had to cut their payroll last year because they have some issues with their regional sports network. And I think it was their big client, whoever it was going to put it on the premium tier. And so not a lot of people wanted to pay $20 a month for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes you wonder, well, are the Rangers learning lessons about the Mariners' RSN situation if it turns out the Rangers are going to go ahead and do their own network? So anyways, you have the 3 teams that haven't been in the playoffs for a while saying that they're going to spend extra money this year and have bigger payrolls. And then you have the Astros and the Rangers who are like, nah, I don't know about our payroll. So
right. I was gonna mention that.
That is interesting. And of course, both the Astros and Rangers have spent a lot of money prior to this year, but still need to spend some to get to where they want to be able to contend. And they are the two bigger markets, two of the top 10 markets in size in the United States. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dallas-Fort Worth is fourth on its way to third, and then Houston might be fifth or sixth. Anyway, you need to spend like a big money team, a big market team, and so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
My thought process with the money is if you need a piece, then the money. But if you need the whole puzzle,
yeah, no, you're right. And the Angels need more than a piece,
right?
I mean, the biggest thing they need is Mike Trout to be easy, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's for sure. That's number one for them. And you hope he is, because he's been so great.
Yeah. Natalie brings up a good point about why the Rangers shouldn't just join Victory Plus.
Yeah, I don't know any of that stuff, Natalie. Sorry. I feel like the Rangers want to do their own thing and distribute their own games. You know, if I mean, ideally, the Rangers would have formed a regional sports network with the Mavs and the Stars. You know, you can't just do it. You just can't do it yourself. You have to have partners. You have to have content. Now, or inventory, as they call it in the business. The Rangers have a lot of inventory with 162 games.
Right.
You know, they can show spring training games. I guess they could even do Frisco games. If you wanted to go down and do Round Rock, maybe you could do a Round Rock game or two, whatever. But what else are you going to do? You know, with everybody now having their eggs all in a basket. You know, if Bally goes away, you know, the Cowboys programming that the Cowboys do might need a home. Maybe the Rangers could do that. Maybe they could pick up Wings games, high school football.
I mean,
something
I
like
came
that.
from Bally. I can run through our long list of things.
Yeah. But
we covered 8 teams in our region alone.
What are you going to do in the off season? You know,
we covered so many teams, we didn't get an off season.
There you go. But like a Rangers off season.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Are you going to go get the Oklahoma City Thunder? Or the Pelicans?
That was the layout.
Yeah. I mean, you know, do they really fit though with a Rangers thing? So I don't know. I mean, that's such a huge question that still needs to be answered. And you know, I heard something the other day that MLB might do this season while the Rangers are getting their stuff together for a regional sports network. I think that's a possibility, but it's not going to be the most lucrative one. But you are hearing momentum for like a game of the week on channel 21, or you know, throwing 21 out. Not saying that's it, but one of the main networks' secondary channel. And it's been done before in the past. It's a free game. Basically what it would be a marketing tool, you know, for all these fans who the last, I don't know, however many years haven't been able to see a game because they cut the cord from cable and their streaming service hadn't picked up the Rangers, and so they've been without baseball. They've been unable to watch games. Well, this is a way to reacquaint these fans who haven't had the access to the Rangers once a week, watch the Rangers for free, and then the Rangers' hope then is that, hey, these fans are going to get excited about it and they're going to want to go to the ballpark, and then when they have the regional sports network more in place, maybe these fans would want to spend money on that too. So a lot of possibilities here. But it needs to happen soon. The Rangers need to know, and maybe they have an idea. I don't know, but it would be nice if the rest of us had an idea. The Mavs just got figured
out, and their season starts soon.
Right. But the Mavs, what was that, last month or early or late August when that was announced? So I guess technically the Rangers could go into January with this, but again, they'll want to show some spring training games.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so how much planning do you have to have for that? I know they are soliciting, you know, advertisers and stuff like that. So
I think Victory Plus is appealing to fans because it's free, but it's not going to remain free.
Yeah.
I think the first year, I think that the way that it's built out, it's, you know, it's a new service, so people want to see what it is, experience it, but that's not a realistic business model to stay free.
Yeah, and you know, hockey, I think in this area is kind of a niche sport. So what's its long term
Yeah, I mean, Dallas
viability?
isn't the biggest hockey town.
Right. But anyway, Natalie, to your point, if the Rangers had known that the Bally contracts with the NHL and the NBA teams would have fallen apart too, maybe they could have anticipated it. But if they'd known that, that would have been the ideal scenario for the Rangers, really, and I think the Stars and the Mavs to partner together and come up with a regional sports network that would have live sports pretty much year round and be a really attractive to Metroplex sports fans. So I don't know.
Agreed. Didn't you want to touch on National League just a little bit? Gearing up
yeah.
for we'll dive into that tomorrow, of course. But
National League, the other series is the Phillies and the Mets. And the Mets really kind of let one get away in Game 2 with the opportunity to go home and with a 2-0 lead, which, as we know, thanks to Abby's stats, is a hell of a thing to have. But they didn't. The Phillies came back in Game 2, won. If you watch those games, those Philly fans, man, they don't have no patience. They'll boo anybody at any point.
One of a kind.
And so anyway, that series is now entirely different. But the Mets get to go home. And it's like they were kind of on the same path as the Rangers were last year to end their season. The Rangers went on the road for the last week of the season, then went to Tampa, won in Tampa, went to Baltimore, and then finally got to come home. They were gone for like 2 weeks. Same with the Mets. The Mets have been on the road to finish the year.
Realistically, like, what was their packing
Well, that's just
situation?
I guess you can pack as much as you want, because you're on a charter and whatever. But all the scenarios you have to figure out how to pack for, and all the possibilities of who you're going to play. It's like, do I bring a jacket? How big a coat do I bring? Are we going to be in the South? Are we going to be on the West Coast in San Diego, which was a possibility for the Mets? Going home was a possibility for the Mets. So anyway, Milwaukee and Philly, not exactly the warmest spots this time of the year. So hopefully they packed warm, and hopefully they did some laundry somewhere along the way.
They might have, hopefully, if they didn't hire somebody.
Or they just went out and bought new stuff. That's probably more likely what happened. Bought another suitcase
That's
to
like
take
the
home with
Channing Tatum. He hates doing laundry so much. He bought like 300 basic white T-shirts so he can wear new, which is ridiculous, but hey.
Yeah. No, I get it as like, when you go to spring training for however long you go, if you stay in a hotel, you really aren't going to have laundry. So you need to pack for the duration of your stay. But then you have to take a bigger bag, or you have to take 2 bags. Whereas if you get an Airbnb, they'll have a washer and dryer. And so you can pack for, let's say, 5 days. If you're going to be gone 10, you can do laundry and just wear the same stuff every 5th day. But then, do you feel subconscious about that? Do you're like, oh man, I just wore this, and then do you lose track? Like if you wash something on Wednesday and it's Friday, you're like, God, did I wear this Wednesday? And you wear it, then I don't know. The players take notice of this stuff. Do they think you're homeless? You're dirty? What's going on here?
I think they have bigger fish to fry, which
I don't know.
Let's talk about chances of playing in the World Series. According to FanGraphs, the Yankees 48% at the highest. Phillies next with 30. Guardians 30. They actually have Phillies 30.7, Guardians 30.5.
Yeah.
Dodgers 28, Padres 27, Mets 14, Royals 10.8, Tigers 10.6.
I saw something interesting that in throughout playoff history, a team that has beaten the Brewers in the postseason has won the World Series every year.
Really?
Yeah. So the Mets apparently should be higher.
That
than
is a funny stat.
Yeah, I don't know, but it happened in 11 because in 11 the Cardinals beat the Brewers in the championship series and ended up beating the Rangers in the World Series. So Anyway, and then Coop, while we're talking about the National League, and I was going through my mental Rolodex of Rookie of the Year contenders, I didn't mention Paul Skeens, which, like, how stupid am I?
How do we miss that one?
I still think Jackson Merrill's going to win it. He had a full season. Skeens is fantastic, though. And then the Japanese pitcher, Imaga, pretty good. That's a pretty good group right there. So maybe Jackson Merrill won't run away with it, but I think he should win it. Now, but Skeens, the hype and all that. So
Well,
anyway,
he lived up to the hype as well.
He might have exceeded it. I mean, wow.
Well, I think I agree. Also, all right, we've talked about Scooble and pitching chaos afterwards. Do we think that the Tigers will use more than 3 pitchers today?
Well, they did last time when Scooble started, so I'll go with yes.
You're gonna go with yes. What
Yep.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the chat. Let us know on
they had an
social
off
media.
day. They had an off day, so everybody should be fresh.
Everyone's fresh.
And it's an important game, so it could be all hands on deck.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Another great episode with you guys. We're going to talk about the American League games tomorrow and then talk about the National League as well.
Yeah,
and
we'll find some Ranger stuff to talk about. There's always a tie-in.
Always. Radigan might be back tomorrow or Wednesday.
I don't know. Wednesday.
One of these days, Radigan will be back. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you have a great day.